Hey guys, so here's the sitch. So initially, I was planning on releasing my hour-long reaction and review of The Batman right about now, but Warner Brothers decided to hit me with some of that sweet, sweet copyright. And it was for a scene that I know other reactors put into their reaction, and it's probably like the most badass scene of the movie, so I wasn't willing to take it out. So pray my dispute goes through and they approve me using it. But until we get that long Halloween-inspired movie cleared, let's talk about another Halloween-related movie that the MCU dropped, and surprise, surprise, it's a werewolf movie. Now, here's something you might not know about me, but I love Universal monster movies. You know, Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, and of course, the Wolfman, Larry Talbot. So when I saw that Marvel was making a special presentation and it was going to be about Jack Russell, the werewolf by night, I was all in. But then again, I'm also really into spy movies, so when Black Widow came out, a movie focusing on a Russian spy, I was really looking forward to that. And then I watched it, and well...
Don't do it! This was fun! No!
So I knew not to get my hopes up too high for this one. But to my surprise, I actually kind of really liked it. Now, I've been saying for a long time now that these Marvel shows and movies never really surprise me. I say it in like every Marvel video I've made since the beginning of Phase 4 with WandaVision. And that's partially due to the fact that they almost never do anything different, and they all kind of have the same problems. And after 10 years with the Infinity Saga, I was looking forward to starting anew with this multiverse saga. But the first phase of this saga, Phase 4, is proving to be less than satisfactory. And we're just about to wrap this phase up too, with Black Panther coming out next month, so I'm hoping that movie can at least end things on a good note for multiple reasons. I really want that movie to be good, because everything else so far has honestly just felt the same as all the other stuff we saw in the last saga. Same boring plots, same stupid jokes, same bad writing, and that's really disappointing to me, because I thought if there was ever a time to start experimenting and start branching out from what you've usually done and try something different, it was going to be with a completely new saga like the one we're in right now. But with Werewolf by Night, we actually got something that felt different, which is all I've been asking for. The first thing that I, and probably you, noticed was different was the aesthetic. This old-timey, black and white, grainy aesthetic really set the tone for how this special was going to be. And initially, I was worried because I thought they were just going to put the black and white filter over the screen and everything else would stay the same, and that would be them experimenting, is just making it black and white but keeping everything else relatively the same. But no, a lot of stuff changes, which is great. Another thing that I noticed was that there weren't that many jokes, at least none that stood out to me too much, and the ones that they did decide to keep made sense in the context of the story. And I'm really grateful for this change because, I mean, why would there be jokes in a time like this? Not just the fact that at this time they're hunting monsters, so cracking jokes really wouldn't be appropriate, but I can't imagine historically, during a time period like this, people would be cracking jokes with one another. I honestly hope, if anything, the reception to this special can show Marvel that we don't need a joke crammed in unnaturally in every other scene of a movie or TV show. That, like you'll hear me say in the Batman video, which was also made before this special came out, so keep that in mind, but you'll hear me say in that video that I like it when jokes supplement and service the story that they're in, instead of being crammed in unnaturally or told so much that they overtake the story. And that's what this special doesn't do. It makes the jokes make sense, and it makes them feel more natural, which again is all I wanted. This special is also way more violent than most Marvel movies or shows even attempt. Like, there were actually some pretty brutal kills in this, and I want to say that this is them doing another thing differently because they almost usually never get this bloody. But then I start thinking that maybe the fact that it was black and white and the fact that we technically can't see the blood are the reasons why they could get away with it. I really wish this was a sign that the MCU is allowing more violent stuff though, because it would really put me more at peace with projects like Blade and Deadpool 3 on the horizon, which are historically very violent, gory and vulgar. And I think all those things are kind of necessary to those characters, but obviously the MCU never gets too unfamily friendly, so we'll see how they handle that. But moving on, I mentioned before that I like the aesthetic of this special, but I also really liked how this special was shot. I mean, with some of these shots, I was thinking, man, that's a really cool and creative way to shoot this. Especially the scenes toward the end where Jack transforms into a werewolf. The transformation scene where you don't actually see the transformation, so it leaves the horror of what Elsa is seeing up to the viewer's imagination. The massacre scene, which was barely visible through the flashes of the guards' electric prods, which also leaves the goriness and violence up to the viewer's imagination. Like, that's the type of creative cinematography that I've been looking for. You'll hear me talk in the Batman video because, again, I made it before this special, but I talked about how these movies and shows in the MCU are shot so boringly. Like, it's just nothing but back and forth shots that feel like they have no personality, but this special actually feels like it's shot with some personality, and that's so refreshing. But beyond the things that were done differently than what is usually found in the MCU, the characters in this were also great. Particularly the two leads, Jack and Elsa. Their actors really did a good job with the performances and actually developed these characters well enough where I was interested in them and their dynamic. The score was also great, and you really notice it right at the beginning when all the hunters set out to start the hunt, and it's just the sound of like a tuba repeatedly blaring one note to build the tension in the scene. But other than everything I've already mentioned, I don't really know what else to say. I will say that at the end of the day, this is just a fun, easily digestible piece of media to watch for the spooky season. Its premise is simple, and like I said, it does a lot of new and creative things that you usually won't find in the MCU, and it encapsulates all of it into just under an hour, which is impressive. So in the end, I'm giving Werewolf by Night a solid 8 out of 10. Please fucking watch this so I get more things in the MCU that feel different.